Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be taking a look at a new archetype. These are going to be called the War Gods, but they definitely will have their names changed. One of my viewers pinned me on Facebook and was talking about the War Gods, and I was like, War Gods for N64? The game was awful. But anyways, new archetype coming out in Judgment and Light. I think this archetype definitely has a lot of great support. Basically what it does is, if they are in the graveyard, you can banish them and you get some type of effect. And there's also a card where special summons one banished one and one from the graveyard, so you can XYZ for something. So I think that they are pretty good. They're all light, to my knowledge. They might come out with more support in the future that are not light, but I think they are pretty good because they already have, Honest that they can already use, but they already have their own version of an Honest or Clute, whatever you want to call it. But you can't just drop it for damage. It just doubles the attack when it's battling a monster. But we'll get into that later. So first off, let's check out War God Yamato. Keep in mind, these names probably will be changed because TCG, they don't usually use the words gods. Like, they don't even use Slifer. It isn't even Osiris, which I thought would have been cool. Anyways, so his effect is... once per turn during your end phase, you can add one War God monster from your deck to your hand, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only control one face of War God Yamato. Keep in mind, you'll get effects once you have those War Gods in the graveyard, and once you banish them, you'll get some effect. He's 1800, so pretty decent for attack, plus, Tenki is a card, so 1900, potentially. Pretty good stuff. Next up, War God Emperor Susano. This is the XYZ, so let's check him out. So he requires 2 War God monsters, 2400 attack, so it's mediocre, but this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, add one War God monster from your deck to your hand, or send one War God monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only control one piece of War God Emperor Susano. So the effect is kind of mediocre for, like, a deck that just wants to bring him out just simply to just run over stuff, but there is a card that we'll get into later, which is basically a Clute, so I think that card is pretty good. It basically just doubles the attack, so you can potentially become 4800 since you can just add it to your hand, which we'll get into later. But at the moment, I think he's an okay card. I mean, like I said, with Tenki, you can boost up the attacks of stuff, and 2500. Even 2500 is still decent. I think anything over 25 is really where it's at. There's a lot of monsters like Xian that's at 2500. And or if you happen to face against a Logia is 2400, like 2500. Just if you can get 2550, like Ophion, like that just extra 50 damage. Just basically anything over 25 is just really good in the game against certain matchups. Next up, this is War God Vessel Habikuri. So this is kind of like the card that's somewhat on it. So during damage calculation, when a War God Beast Warrior type monster you control battles, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. The original attack of your battling monster is doubled during damage calculation only. Just to double check, this is a Beast Warrior type, right? It is a Beast Warrior, so you do get the effect on this. So you can't boost his attack, so you can't use Habikuri on Habikuri because he is a wing beast. So what that means is, I mean, maybe you can take Icarus attack in it, but I don't know if it's too viable at the moment. But there's no reason why you wouldn't want to play 3 of these. And like I said before, you want to send cards to the graveyard because you'll get other effects later on, which we'll get into. And next up, we have War God Vessel Hitsuga, which is a turtle or a tortoise. Looks something like that. But anyways, so during either player's turn, when a face of War God monster you control is targeted by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and you get to negate that effect. Now, popular cards that like to target effect veiler targets, deprison targets, I was going to say Magic Cylinder, but not every meta deck plays Magic Cylinder. But anything that targets the card, compulse targets, you can just negate that. So I think that is pretty good. Like I said, once they're in the graveyard, you can have effects when you banish them from the graveyard. So I'm thinking maybe Chaos War Gods might be a way to play War Gods. Next up, this is War God Vessel Murakumo. So if you control a War God Beast Warrior type monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target one face-up card your opponent controls, destroy that target. You can only use the effect of War God Vessel Murakumo once per turn. That thing looks really weird. It kind of reminds me of a unicorn, but it looks like... For its face, it literally just has a sword. But 1600 attack's not bad. But I like the effect. The effect is really good. Just being able to just target one card. Oh, it has to be face up. But you can hit back row. Face up continuous stuff that you need to get rid of. Pretty good stuff. And he at least has 1600 attack. So if you Tenki for it, hey, 1700. Still not bad for attack. Next up, War God Vessel Orochi. So during your main phase 1, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to target one War God monster you control. That target can attack your opponent directly this turn. And that's just pretty good if you just want to finish off the game. It's an okay card. Not sure if I would actually play this one if I was to build them, but, you know, it's just a card that just, it has War God in its name, so if you're lacking some support, you can just throw that in. So next up we have War God Vessel Taruta? That looks like a Pokemon. Anyways, so 1100 attack, 2000 defense. Other face-up Beast Warrior and Winged Beast type monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle. So you're probably going to set this card. It's a little bit slower. I don't know if I would play this card against some of the metas because it's just kind of slow. Next up, Sword Manifesting War God. So actually one of the effects. Add one War God monster from your graveyard to your hand. Return one of your banished War God monsters to the graveyard. That's okay. I mean, it's good as a chainable because going back to that card that just pops, where is that one? I like this one. I think that card is probably one of the best, and as a chainable, it's not so bad. A little bit of a card that we don't really want to open up with it unless you can, you know, have cards being sent to the graveyard immediately. But I think this one is definitely okay because going back to like their like staple card, the Yamato, once returning during end phase, so you summon this, end phase, send something to the graveyard, then you can perhaps activate its effect, and then you can use the Sword Manifesting War God. So I think this card's okay, but just opening with multiple can cause maybe some problems. If you don't have the, what is it, Yamato? Yeah, the Yamato guy, he's pretty good. Next up, we have War God Advent. So if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, target one War God monster in your graveyard, add one of your banished War God monsters, special summon both those targets. They cannot be used as a XYZ material for an XYZ summon except for the XYZ summon of a Beast Warrior, Winged Beast type monster. So I think that is pretty good. I mean, obviously it's conditional, but I mean, you just have to have cards in the grave and one banished one, and then they'll go back to the graveyard as you know you detach for the XYZ's effect. I think that's pretty good. This card seems so good to where I might not need to play 3 of these, because originally I was like, well, when I make my deck, I was thinking about playing 3 of these because I think this card's really good, just because it's a really trainable card, and because of the Murakumo. I think this card is probably one of their best cards as well. I think that recycling their effects when they're in the grave is just pretty good. Another thing is Macro is still, you know, a card, so I don't know, maybe Macro eventually might get touched by Konami because it ruins all their archetypes. Lastly, we have War God N. So you tribute one Beast Warrior type War God monster, then target one War God monster in your graveyard with a different name than the tributed monster, special summon that target. Now I think that is pretty good because that just allows you to just push for a game, or if like, you know, you summon a monster, they bottomless trap hole, you activate this, bottomless then loses its target. So well, bottomless does not target, by the way, but you know, you tribute that monster so it won't get banished, or you know, you could just attack, and then if they have nothing, no response, you can just activate this and you get another monster and perhaps just attack for game. So I think that the War God archetype is looking pretty good. I mean, we just need a few more cards, and I think this deck could definitely take off as a high tier deck because you know, all the monsters get effects when they're in the graveyard. You have a card that sends them to the graveyard immediately, the Yamato, and I think that he's probably one of the key cards in it. Plus, you send one card from your hand to the graveyard to get, you know, the effect. Well, this is mandatory. It's then send one. It's not optional, but you get to add one and then send one. So I think that is pretty good. And Yamato's probably the key card in the deck. Plus, it's a searchable card, you know, 10 key, like I said before. So this deck looks pretty good. But if you guys have any thoughts on the War God archetype, I'd like to know in the comment section below, because I definitely want to build this deck. I think it has some potential. We need maybe 2 or 3 like more good cards, and this deck could be a high tier deck. At the moment, I think it's definitely a viable deck. It's not, you know, mermaids or elemental dragons, but you know, it could maybe hold up against some other like lower tier decks, like maybe 6 samurais or something like that, because they're all based off of like monster effects. They're not really reliant on spell and trap. But 10 key, you know, searches out this card, and that kind of a key card. I think what it comes down to is Yamato's a really key card to have early on in the game. Kind of like how Girga's, they have to go for the Girga armor first turn, otherwise like they don't really have like that many plays. But anyways, thanks for watching. Nice signing out.